6 a.m. Cops pounding on my front door. Again. You ever wake up to a police cruiser idling out front, blue lights flickering on your living room walls, all because your neighbor's got a clipboard and a grudge? That's how it started. There was Karen, standing in her tennis whites, arm outstretched like she was ordering a SWAT raid, her finger aimed right at my backyard fence. "Officer," she called, "this man is building an unpermitted pool." And Officer Martinez, who's probably had just about enough of this HOA drama for a lifetime, read the complaint with the kind of embarrassed eye that tells you this is not his first Karen rodeo. You want to know my real crime? Trying to fix up a pool that's been a mosquito nursery since the Bush administration. That's not an exaggeration. The day we bought this place on Maple Street, I thought, man, finally after 25 years climbing through crawl spaces as an electrician, this is it. Not a mansion, not some look-at-me palace. Just a good house, a tired old pool, and the promise of barbecue weekends where my wife, Sarah, wouldn't have to shush the upstairs neighbors every 10 minutes. Sarah's a school librarian, salt of the earth. She's been daydreaming about poolside book clubs for 10 years. So, when we finally scraped together enough to buy the dream, we took one look at that 30-year-old cement tub with algae thick as green shag carpet, a pump that screamed like a banshee, and dead leaves older than some presidents, and thought, let's bring it back to life. Then I saw the renovation quote. 40 grand. For a concrete hole that looked like it had never held clean water in its life. That's when the stubborn kicked in. I've rewired industrial plants. How hard could pool renovation be? That's also when I met Karen Whitfield. She waltzed on my driveway on her second day living here. Heels like railroad spikes, hair so perfectly spun it had to be shellacked, perfume thick enough to knock out a small mammal. "Welcome to the neighborhood," she chirped, thrusting a packet at me. "I'm Karen, HOA president. Here are the rules." Sarah was behind her, rolling her eyes so hard I heard it. It was all in there: grass height, trash can alignment, holiday lights must be down by January 6th. If you're planning any exterior improvements, Karen added, you'll need architectural approval. We can't have people just changing things. That's when I realized we'd swapped upstairs neighbors for neighborhood dictators. The following week, as I started draining the pool, Karen materialized again. Clipboard, measuring tape, snapping pictures like I was rerouting the Colorado River without a permit. "Excuse me, pool renovations require HOA architectural approval. I don't see any permits." I'm standing there, pool skimmer in hand, soaked to my boots. I'm restoring it, not building a new pool. Her smile thinned. "Any exterior changes require approval. That's a $500 daily fine. You ever see a librarian look like she's about to throw hands?" Sarah in the doorway, fuming. I started digging metaphorically and literally. Turns out, Karen's committee was just her and two friends, rubber stamping each other's projects. And here's the kicker. 3 other houses did pool renovations in the last 2 years. No permits. No fees. Guess what all 3 had in common? Karen's real estate listings. Sarah found a neighborhood Facebook group that night. Karen had already blasted us. New residents beginning unpermitted construction concerned for community standards. Some neighbors rallied to our defense. Others not so much. Bob, a local, commented, maybe let folks fix their own property without a permission slip. Karen's reply? Some people just don't care about neighborhood quality. Control, that's all this was. 3 days later, a certified letter from the city. Formal complaint, restore property to original condition. Guess who filed it? Original condition, meaning, apparently, we were supposed to keep the world's worst mosquito farm as a public service. Karen kept posting photos of my construction site and warnings about rogue homeowners. The comment section turned into a digital food fight. Margaret Williams piped in, maybe mind your own business, Karen. Bob again, never needed permission to fix my own property. Karen, proper neighborhood procedures. She started crowdsourcing surveillance. At that point, I decided, fine, let's play. I spent the weekend in a sea of legalese, 47 pages of bylaws. There it was, buried in Section 12. Architectural approval only for changes that alter the footprint. Pool restoration? Not covered. But I wasn't done. $12 and a trip to City Hall got me 5 years' worth of architectural approvals. Guess whose pool renovation never got approval? Karen's. There she was, posting before and after shots of her pool on Instagram. No permits, no committee review. I printed it all: Facebook rants, Instagram posts, public records. Labeled it evidence. The sound of my pump running, after 20 years of silence, was sweeter than spring rain. Sarah brought me a beer, laughing. Karen's been watching from her window for an hour. The next night, Karen banged on my door. No more smiles. The HOA is calling an emergency meeting to address your violations. I suggest you bring a lawyer. Sarah muttered. Does she realize that makes her the villain? Here's the thing about HOA selective enforcement is shady. They can't fine you for something and let their friends slide. That's basic fairness. Turns out, Karen's been playing favorites for years. By week's end, Karen filed a petition with the city council about drainage issues for my renovation. She even hired a private inspector who measured everything twice and found nothing out of order. Then Karen started popping up with a decibel meter app, measuring my pool filter at 7 a.m. in a blazer and heels, trying to catch me on a technicality. My contractor Dave looked at her like she was from Mars. That's when I hired Jennifer Walsh, an attorney who chews up HOA bullies for breakfast. Jennifer flipped through the bylaws and said, "Your HOA is a legally small. State law says 5 committee members minimum. You've got 3. Plus, your president's depositing fees into her personal account. That's embezzlement, Mike." Word got out. Margaret thanked me for standing up. Bob, a Vietnam vet with a cane, told me how Karen tried to block his wheelchair ramp. Sarah baked so many cookies, the house smelled like a bakery, and we started calling it aromatherapy for HOA stress. When Karen's car turned the corner, conversations stopped except for the low hum of my pool pump. It became the neighborhood's peace signal. The night before the meeting, Jennifer called. "Mike, Karen doesn't live here. She's been using her mom's address for HOA eligibility, but everything utilities, taxes, license shows her real place is across town. That makes every action she's taken illegal. Mail fraud, embezzlement, discrimination works. Now, her mom, Dorothy, sweet as pie, just wanted the best for her daughter. I brought her cookies, got the whole story. Karen moved out after a messy divorce. Kept using Dorothy's address for a few months that turned into 2 years. I could have blown it up right then, but I decided to let Karen show her true colors at the meeting. Monday night, the community center overflowed. 70 people usually. You're lucky if you get 10 at an HOA meeting. Karen looked like she hadn't slept in a week, makeup streaked, hands shaking. News crew in the back, my lawyer in the evidence box front row center. Karen started her speech, all bluster. This board will not be intimidated by troublemakers. That's when Bob stood up. "Karen, where do you actually live?" She dodged. "Margaret, why'd I pay you twice for the same fee?" Karen, procedural misunderstanding. Jennifer stood. "State law requires open meetings. This qualifies as fraud. Here's proof Karen's been embezzling and isn't a resident." She held up records, bank statements, security footage. Karen vandalizing my yard at 3 a.m. The room exploded. "This is a setup," Karen shouted. "You're jealous of my leadership." Then Officer Martinez stepped forward, warrant in hand. "Miss Whitfield, you're under arrest for embezzlement, mail fraud, and filing false police reports." Karen was let out in handcuffs, real estate license suspended, IRS agent waiting. "This isn't over," she hissed. "Yeah, Karen," I said. "It is." Bob was elected interim president. First move, void all Karen's fines and refund the stolen money. Aftermath? Swift. Karen pleaded guilty, 18 months probation, $25,000 restitution, banned from HOAs forever. Her house foreclosed, she moved in with family, and last I heard, she's working at a call center, still ranting on Facebook about corrupt neighbors. Our neighborhood? Completely changed. Bob led a reformed transparent finances, real 5-member board, rotating committee. My pool became the monthly gathering spot, not for Karen's witch hunts, but for potlucks and block parties. Margaret started a community garden. Dorothy became the unofficial grandma, hosting coffee mornings. Property values jumped 15%. I started a consulting website, sharing our legal strategies, templates, advice. Thousands visit every month. We even set up a scholarship for trade students, hosted free swim lessons for kids, organized home repairs for the elderly. One lesson from it: all bullies only win when people stay quiet. Stand up once. You make space for everyone else to breathe. Karen's story went viral, helped change state laws, and is now a textbook example in HOA training. Some evenings, I stand by the pool, watch the neighbors' kids splash, see Dorothy laughing with new families, and think this is what a neighborhood is supposed to feel like. We even painted Karen's old house yellow now. It's the happiest place on the block. So, let me ask, you ever tangled with a Karen of your own? Got an HOA horror story? Drop it in the comments below. Let's build a database of their tactics and yours. And if you learned something today, hit subscribe, because next week I'll tell you how my other neighbor tried to steal my driveway and ended up owing me 50 grand. Remember, knowledge is power, community is strength, and Karens are temporary.